Hey everyone, welcome to Art Studio 320. My name is Melanie. I rescue furniture, refinish it, and hopefully keep it out of the landfills. This week's project is a dresser that belongs to my son and my daughter-in-law. They would like me to refinish it, and I am going to match it to an end table that I already did for them a few months back. So you can check out that video at the end of this one. I'm excited to get started, so stick around. I have found that the best way to approach a piece of furniture when you're refinishing it is to first clean it really well, and I use vinegar and water. I don't think you need anything more than that. Then I use 120 grit sandpaper on my orbital sander. After I sand it once, I put on mineral spirits. And then that raises the grain, and then I go back again with my 120. And then I go to 220, and then after the 220, I go to 400. And when I use the 400, I hand sand. And what that 400 does is it makes that surface so smooth that when you put the stain on, if that's what you're doing, or the paint, whatever it is, that wood is ready. It is ready to receive that stain, that paint, and your finish will be unbelievably smooth. This tool I'm using is sandpaper. It's 400 grit, but you can buy other grits of sandpaper that stick to this spongy type of handle, and it allows you to push on the wood and sand really easily. When you get to 400 grit, you're really kind of polishing, and it just allows you to hold the sandpaper easily. You're not scraping your hands, and you're not cramping up your hand. One thing I've found helpful to do is to flip a piece of furniture around so you can find a spot like this that needs to be sanded that you might not see if you don't flip it on its end and on its back and maybe upside down. It's just another way to view a piece of furniture differently so that you can get every spot that needs to be refinished and every spot that needs to be repaired, like this right here. I recently made a list of all the steps to refinishing a piece of furniture because for me, I have found a really good formula and I want to remember it. And one of the things is to remember to clean off in between different grits of sandpaper. You need to wipe it off with a tack cloth or a microfiber cloth to make sure you're getting rid of all of that dust before you go to the next step. My original goal was to get this dresser to match an end table that I had already done. Unfortunately, the end table and the dresser are two different kinds of wood, and stain appears differently on different kinds of wood. So what I'm using here is first a light walnut, which is kind of a reddish color, and then to tone down the red a little bit, I used English chestnut. That toned down the red a little bit, darkened it up, but I wasn't going to be able to match what I had done on the end table. So I took a picture of the drawers that I had stained and I sent them to my son and I said, hey, you know, this is where I'm at. This wood is very temperamental. All the stain looks different depending on the drawer. Would you like me to go darker? And he thought, no, you know what? I like the darker drawers, but I understand that each drawer is going to react differently because of the wood. So, you know, it's fine. And that was a huge relief because I was ready to go darker and I could have probably gotten closer to the end table, but it was never going to look exact. Not without using like an opaque stain. So I wanted the wood grain to show. He wants the wood grain to show. She wants the wood grain to show. So you just have to check in with your customer to make sure that you're both on the same page. While I was staining the top, I came across some scratches that I hadn't seen, and they weren't very deep, but I don't know how they got there. I'm not quite sure how it happened, but I took some sandpaper, and I believe I'm using just a 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm sanding them out. They weren't very deep at all. And you can do that even after you stain. You can do that and then you go back and you just stain it again. It's not a big deal. So if you see something like that, don't just say, oh, whatever, it's too late. It's never too late. You can always go back and fix something if you have to. I have recently decided that I am going to give more time to the drawers and how they look and how they feel. So what I did this time, and I learned this from a project I did a few months back on a vanity. I saw how beautifully made this vanity was. It was an antique, and even the drawers were finished. So I decided I was going to sand these drawers on the sides and make them smooth and then put polyurethane over them because it just gives it that extra little touch that makes the difference when somebody looks at a piece of furniture and thinks, wow, that person went the extra mile. I mean, it doesn't take any real time to do just that, just to sand the sides and put polyurethane on them to make them look finished. And they're just smooth. They're nice to touch. They're not rough. Another important step, after you put on the polyurethane, you need to use finishing pads. The finishing pads are so important because when you put down the top coat, it doesn't go on like glass. I mean, it's bubbly and it dries, it levels off, but it's not perfect. So what the finishing pads do is they smooth it out, they polish it, they buff it up. So don't skip this step. It will make all the difference, and all your hard work and sanding the wood will come through if you buff out the top coat. And you want to do this between every coat of top coat you put on. So you put on one coat, you buff it. Put on another coat, you buff it. Put on a third coat, you buff it. Every time you put on a new coat, you want to make sure you use that finishing pad, because that will give you that factory finish, if you will, that beautiful, beautiful finish that you can't get unless you really work for it. And it's really not that much work. I applied 3 coats of oil-based polyurethane to this piece, 3 coats to the top, two coats to the rest. You may also use a water-based top coat if you wait a week for that oil-based stain to dry. That's all you have to do is wait. If you don't wait, the chances of the top coat looking cloudy are pretty good. I just wanted to mention really quickly that the hardware on here is not the hardware that I will be putting on it to give to my son and my daughter-in-law. That is in transit, and it was supposed to be here, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. Now, the original hardware I ordered won't be here until April, so that's really stupid. So I ordered some more hardware yesterday that was supposed to be here today, and it is not, which I kind of predicted might happen. I had ordered some other hardware that I thought might look good on this dresser if they wanted that. So thankfully I had that, so that's on there right now. And then I will put the other hardware on if it ever gets here, and I will do a little short video for that if you'd like to see it. Thank you for being here. Good luck on your next project, and I will see you next time.
You can do it.
We were made for each other to hold on to. I was carved out of redwood beneath your moon. I was birthed in the mountains under the sun. Something's changed, you can't see my face in the crowd no more. Something's changed, you can't see my face in the crowd no more. We are living the dream together out here on the road, and our love takes center stage at every single show. But lately you've been distant, and I don't know what for. Something's changed, you can't see my face in the crowd no more. Something's changed, you can't see my face in the crowd no more.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. You can find more videos just like this on my YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe.